So to our next speaker, the third MEP for the Brexit Party here in the Northwest. A doctor of medicine, someone who's absolutely passionate in healthcare, how to improve the NHS. He's a truly committed Brexiteer. It's great to have him with us here tonight. Please give a massive welcome, Dr. David Bull.
Good evening to you, ladies and gentlemen. I cannot tell you what an honour it is to be your MEP, one of 3 MEPs for this region. As Richard said, we are now the largest single party in the European Parliament, and I can tell you the 3 of us, plus Richard, plus the 28 colleagues, we are fighting very hard to make sure that your voices are heard, and we are keeping up the pressure so that we leave this dreadful institution of the European Union. Now, do you remember the referendum? It was 3 years ago, the largest ever democratic vote where 17.4 million people voted to leave. 3.5 million people here voted to leave. And yet, we are still in the European Union, despite politicians on every side saying they would respect the result of the referendum, and they triggered Article 50. We are still in it. But why is that? I can tell you why. We underestimated the bully boy tactics, the dirty games, the underhanded tricks that are being played by the establishment and by the media. And what's more, Remainers will not accept that they lost. We won, and we are leaving. They are now desperate, and Project Fear is back. And as a medical doctor, I cannot abide what I am seeing. They are trying to frighten people by saying there is going to be a shortage of medicines in the event of a no-deal Brexit. They've gone up further. They have said there will be a serious impact to your health, and they have even said that people may die as a result. It's rubbish. This is not true. It is not acceptable, and it has to stop. Now, we are up against some very powerful lobby groups indeed. I want to show you this. This is the British Medical Journal. It is sent to every doctor in this country every single week. This is this week's. It says, "No deal, the health risks of Brexit." But when you read it, there is nothing in here that actually substantiates the fact that there are risks to a no-deal Brexit. And I'll tell you why. Because medicine does not revolve around the European Union. Medicine is global, and medicine is flexible. Europe needs us as much as we need them. We trade with Europe, so we already have the same standards as Europe, and therefore mutual recognition really shouldn't be an issue. Pharmaceutical companies are based all around the world. Many have footprints here in the UK and also in the EU. And we have some of the biggest pharmaceutical companies in this country, and that industry is worth £42 billion. But let's look at where medicines are made. A third of the world's medicines are not made in Europe, they're made in India. By 2050, half of the world's medicines will be made in India. And if Europe doesn't want to sell us their drugs, we will buy them from places like the United States, who are very keen to sell us their insulin, their biosimilars, and many other drugs as well. And if we do leave without a deal, we will go to trade on World Trade Organization terms. This is how most of the world actually trades. That means there are zero tariffs on thousands of pharmaceutical medicines under pre-existing agreements. But we could also have an interim agreement which would abolish tariffs on all drugs. And very quickly, I want to tell you, in Brussels this week, I actually approached the European Federation of Pharmaceutical Industries. I said to them, is there a problem in the event of a no deal? And they said to me, no. There has been a huge amount of no deal planning. There are many workarounds to ensure that drugs will be available in the UK, and we will have mutual recognition procedures. So the drug supply should not be in any danger. And yesterday in Brussels, I met with 3 pharmaceutical companies, all of whom are French. I said to them, I am concerned. Is there a problem? Will you still trade with the UK in the event of a no-deal Brexit? And they laughed at me and thought I was bonkers. They told me the UK market is too important for their business case to avoid. In short, what I want you to go home with is this message, that actually these are scare stories. These are scare stories by Remainers who want us not to leave the European Union. So I say, no more spin, no more prevarication, and for goodness sake, stop playing with people's lives. Let's have a clean break Brexit and build the UK into the powerhouse that it really can be once we leave the tentacles of the European Union.
Isn't it great, David? Thank you so much.